Have you ever opened a tax bill that made your stomach drop and thought there was absolutely nothing you could do about it? What if I told you that massive tax bill sitting on your desk right now could potentially be reduced by thousands of dollars with strategies that most people never even know exist? Today, I'm going to reveal the insider secrets that tax professionals use to negotiate with the IRS and state tax agencies that could save you more money than you ever imagined possible. Most taxpayers accept their tax bills as final judgments carved in stone. But the reality is that tax agencies are businesses that need to collect revenue. And like any business, they're often willing to negotiate when approached correctly. The key is understanding that you have more power in this relationship than you think. And there are specific psychological triggers and procedural pathways that can work in your favor. The first secret revolves around timing, and this might surprise you. The best time to negotiate your tax bill isn't when you're desperate and facing immediate collection action. The sweet spot is actually within the first 30 to 60 days after you receive your notice. During this window, tax agencies are more receptive to reasonable settlement proposals because they haven't yet invested significant resources in collection efforts. Once the collection machinery gets rolling, agents become less flexible and more focused on extracting the full amount owed. Here's something most people never consider. Tax agencies have performance metrics just like any other organization. Revenue officers and collection agents are often evaluated based on how much money they bring in relative to the time they invest in each case. This creates an opportunity for smart negotiators who can present proposals that make financial sense from the agency's perspective. A quick settlement for 70% of the debt might be more attractive than a drawn-out collection process that could take years and cost them more in administrative expenses. The psychology of negotiation plays a huge role in these interactions. When you contact a tax agency, your tone and approach in those first few minutes can determine the entire trajectory of your case. Never start with an adversarial stance or complaints about unfairness. Instead, position yourself as someone who wants to resolve the matter responsibly, but needs some flexibility to make that happen. Tax agents deal with hostile taxpayers all day long, so a cooperative attitude immediately sets you apart and makes them more inclined to work with you. Documentation becomes your most powerful weapon in these negotiations. Before you make any contact, gather every piece of relevant financial information you can find. Bank statements, pay stubs, expense records, medical bills, and proof of other debts create a comprehensive picture of your financial situation. The more detailed and organized your documentation, the more credible your negotiation position becomes. Tax agents respect taxpayers who come prepared with facts rather than emotional appeals. One of the most overlooked strategies involves understanding the different types of settlement options available. Most people only know about payment plans, but there are actually several pathways that could dramatically reduce what you owe. Offers in compromise allow you to settle your debt for less than the full amount if you can demonstrate financial hardship or doubt about the government's ability to collect the full debt. Currently not collectible status can temporarily suspend collection activities if paying the debt would create genuine financial hardship. The hardship angle requires careful presentation because tax agencies have specific criteria they use to evaluate these claims. Simply saying you can't afford to pay isn't enough. You need to demonstrate that paying the full amount would prevent you from meeting basic living expenses like housing, food, transportation, and healthcare. The key is presenting this information in their language using their forms and following their procedures exactly. Here's a strategy that works particularly well with state tax agencies: the economic reality approach. Many state revenue departments are understaffed and overwhelmed with cases. If you can present a compelling argument that your financial circumstances make full collection unlikely, they may accept a reduced settlement just to close the file and move resources to more promising cases. The trick is supporting this argument with concrete evidence rather than vague claims about financial difficulty. Penalty abatement represents another powerful tool that many taxpayers completely ignore. Tax penalties often make up a significant portion of what you owe, and these can frequently be reduced or eliminated if you can demonstrate reasonable cause for your tax problems. Job loss, serious illness, natural disasters, or reliance on incompetent tax preparers can all qualify as reasonable cause. The key is connecting your specific circumstances to their established criteria for penalty relief. Professional representation can be worth every penny in complex negotiations, but you need to choose carefully. Not all tax professionals are created equal when it comes to negotiation skills. Look for enrolled agents, tax attorneys, or certified public accountants with specific experience in tax resolution. These professionals understand the internal procedures and unwritten rules that can make or break your case. They also have direct access to specialized departments that regular taxpayers can't reach. The installment agreement strategy requires more sophistication than most people realize. Rather than simply asking for a payment plan, smart negotiators propose specific terms that align with the agency's interests. Offering to pay slightly more than their minimum acceptable payment can secure better terms and demonstrate good faith. Some agencies will reduce penalties and interest in exchange for larger upfront payments or shorter repayment periods. Communication timing and frequency can make or break your negotiation efforts. Tax agencies operate on bureaucratic timelines that don't match normal business expectations. Following up too aggressively can actually hurt your case by annoying overworked agents, while waiting too long can cause your file to get lost in the system. The optimal approach involves strategic follow-ups that show persistence without crossing into harassment territory. State tax agencies often have more flexibility than the federal government when it comes to settlement negotiations. Many states have voluntary disclosure programs that allow taxpayers to come forward with unpaid obligations in exchange for reduced penalties or immunity from prosecution. These programs can be particularly valuable for business owners who may have accumulated significant employment tax liabilities. The asset protection angle adds another dimension to these negotiations. If you own significant assets that could be subject to levy or seizure, positioning these discussions correctly can influence the agency's willingness to negotiate. Sometimes demonstrating that aggressive collection efforts would be counterproductive for everyone involved can open doors to more reasonable settlement terms. Technology has created new opportunities for documentation and communication that smart negotiators leverage to their advantage. Digital records, automated payment systems, and electronic communication create paper trails that can support your position while demonstrating professionalism and organization that tax agents appreciate. The biggest mistake people make in these negotiations is accepting the first offer or giving up after an initial rejection. Tax agencies often start with their most conservative position and have room to move if you present compelling arguments for different terms. Persistence combined with new information or changed circumstances can reopen discussions that seemed closed. Your negotiation success ultimately depends on understanding that this is a business transaction where both sides have interests that can potentially be aligned. The tax agency wants to collect revenue efficiently, and you want to resolve your obligations in a way that doesn't destroy your financial future. Finding that middle ground requires preparation, patience, and strategic thinking. Remember that every interaction with tax agencies creates a permanent record that will influence future dealings. Professional behavior, honest communication, and reliable follow-through on agreements build credibility that can benefit you for years to come. The small amount of extra effort required to handle these negotiations properly can save you thousands of dollars and create a foundation for better relationships with tax authorities going forward. Take action on this information while your case is still fresh and options remain available, because the longer you wait, the fewer tools you'll have at your disposal for successful negotiation.